Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday Live. The answer to the question, what does my social life look like now? Joining me from the Man Mum territory of Dublin 8 is my brother Gareth. Gareth, say hello.
Hello.
I'm broadcasting from the metropolis of Mullingar. More accurately, I'm broadcasting from my spare room where I seem to spend most of my time working at a computer in comparison to being in our office. This week we are featuring wines that have featured in our OSO Organic case that was launched on Tuesday. We've chosen three wines, two that have been on our list for a number of years and one that is brand new to us. The first wine is a wine from Umbria in Italy and is a white Gar. Can you tell us a little bit about this, please?
Yeah, of course. This is called Grechetto. It is it's named grape. It comes from De Filippo. It's actually made by Roberto De Filippo and his wife. It is organic and biodynamic. They're very interesting what these guys do. They're in Umbria, and Umbria is famous, and they're very proud. It's where St. Francis of Assisi came from, where the birds spoke and sang to him. So they're quite philosophical down there. This is or as I said, organic and biodynamic. What Roberto has brought and his wife has brought back are plough horses to the fields. They don't use tractors; they use plough horses. And also, in order to get rid of pests, not using pesticides, but to get rid of pests, they actually use geese. What do I mean by that? They corner off a hectare of land and they let the geese go at the vines. This before the grapes get all lush and lovely. This is when they're still very green and sour. So what happens is that the geese get onto the land and they start pruning the vines for something to eat, but also they eat any slugs or anything like that that you don't want on your vines. So that's quite interesting. That's just how they do it. And so the wine itself is called Grechetto, and for me, it's a single grape. And it just like you're talking, like completely hops out of the glass. It's got peaches. It's almost got a bit of almost yeastiness to it for me. It's got loads of stone fruit going on it. And just to give it a quick taste, there you go.
Yeah, most people would say kind of when they kind of think about Italy, they think about Pinot Grigio as being kind of this very, very light grape variety. But for me, this isn't really Pinot Grigio of any description at all. It's not even like Pinot Grigio. There's a lot more weight to it. Would you agree?
Oh, there's a lot more weight to it. And you're dead right, Gavin, because a lot of Italian wines can be like Pinot Grigio or Gaviesque. Pinot Grigio wines can be quite a bit almost blousy, for want of a better word, in that they're quite light. There's not a lot going on. But with this, there's a bit more weight to it. There's a bit more, I always say a bit more guts, is really what I mean when I say weight. A bit more weight to it. And as I said, what would you match that up with? Would you just do it just by yourself, like drinking wine, or just with some friends as an aperitif? Or would you have snacks? I definitely have to have some food with this, some snacks, maybe as a starter to it, or maybe as part of if you're having a light dish, I would have something. I'm looking for white wine, I definitely would have this. But it's just something just a little bit different, and again, it's got a little bit of body, a little bit of weight, and it's just a really lovely, interesting wine, which is you don't always get in Italy, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's kind of quite true, especially when you go that far south. What you end up usually, if you do get some whites, is that the whites tend to be overcooked and overbaked. This is fresh, so I suppose the whole job, I think, of any particular wine is that it ends up being fresh. This itself is fresh. It's refreshing. I'm not going to say this is easy to drink because that's being dismissive of the wine itself, but it's certainly something that it's very pleasant, it's very enjoyable to drink, and it kind of almost kind of you're interested to come back to drink a little bit more of it. But that's kind of quite cool for me. So that's brand new. It's been just with us for the last kind of month or 6 weeks or so. So it is up on our website in the new section, as well as being in the part of the OSO Organic case that's been featured this week. Moving on, we're going to go to our second wine. So this is from Fougère. Which for me, I've been to this area twice, and the last time I was here, it gave me the best ever wine experience that I've ever had. So a couple of us were away. So we had Tracy, our social media manager, Judy, our graphic designer, and Trevor, our shop manager. We were away, and this was our last visit. We were invited to come for breakfast. Usually when you go to breakfast for a vineyard, you were told, come for breakfast. It is croissant and a coffee while standing in the shade beside some tanks. That's about the height of it. So we arrived for the appointed, and we were brought for a tour up and down the mountains in a 4x4 until we reached a place where they kind of said, would you like to have some breakfast? And I kind of looked over my shoulder at 3 or 4, hills and said, God, shade's quite far away. Turn a corner up a hill, and there was breakfast laid out for us, overlooking the mountains, overlooking the vines on the top of the mountain. One of my best ever wine experiences. I have a video of it, and I'll stick it up on our Instagram feed at a later stage tonight or tomorrow. But anyway, I digress about my best ever wine experience, but this is kind of one of the reasons why I love this wine and the people behind it. But Gar, please tell me about Fogier. Please tell us about Typhar, please.
Okay, this is done by sister and brother team, Luke and Francoise. Luke is all about the vines. Francoise is all about what happens in the Shay and also selling the stuff. This is actually made with 3 grapes. It's mostly Carignan, and then it's Grenache and Syrah. Carignan was seen as more of a sort of like workhorse grape, more of a sort of blending grape back in the past. Was ripped up quite a lot until people started finding in difficult places like Fougère. And when it's old, it actually produces some very interesting fruit. So this is mostly Carignan. First unusual thing about this wine. Second thing is that it's in Fougère. Fougère compared to the rest of south of France is actually quite high, and there's a huge big temperature difference. Which, for example, about 5 to 6 degree temperature difference. Why is that important? It's important because it doesn't mean that the fruit gets baked. It actually comes out of something quite elegant because it's not as hot, so they don't get as ripe and as full of sugar and full of fruit and knock you out when you drink it when it turns to alcohol. It's also schist rock up there, and the schist rock is it's very difficult for the vine. They have to really work hard in order to get the roots down and to actually bring up the nutrients. So net result is that you get something that's actually full of terroir and just something that's not typical. Fougère is quite different to the rest of south of France, and even just on the nose. Wow, I guess definitely there's some Syrah in there because I get that lovely sort of black cherry aroma that I get. And for me, but it's not coming out. It's actually quite elegant on the nose, and just on the taste, Kevin.
Yeah, so for me, this is kind of it's rich, but it's not overpowering. Like it's not a blockbuster. It's not that kind of Barossa Valley Shiraz where it kind of you almost feel it in the center of your forehead. This is elegant. For me, I'm kind of getting a little bit of the eucalyptus, but it's elegant. And again, as we said, refreshing. Like we said with the first one there, it has to be refreshing. So that's kind of for me what I find is that it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, no, we got that because we get a lot of acidity coming like crispness, rather than tannins, because every wine needs balance, and depends, especially with red wine, if you get the tannins, dryness around your mouth, or you get crispness or acidity just coming in through the back palate. That's really what you get here. So for me, that's a lot elegant, but for me, definitely food with that wine. Definitely food. Any sort of beef dish, any sort of stew, any sort of barbecue, any sort of anything like that. With red meat, any sort of wild boar pate, as Gavin had in the south of France when he was in there last time. Anything like that would really go with that.
Definitely. And actually, wild boar is something that, we talk about kind of sometimes that there are issues in the vineyard when it comes to disease or bugs or whatever. The main issue that actually is in Fougère is the wild boar, the cinglé that managed to make their way through the vineyards. In a lot of cases, they've just managed to not go meander through the vineyards, they pack straight through. So what they do in this particular vineyard is they grow a little bit of muscat up to the very front of the vines. So the wild boar will go to that, slightly sweeter, eat that, then they go on to the Carignan, which is the next plant over, and they go, not as sweet. So then they just go away. Now, the other side of what they do deal with is they do actually have guns. They shoot the boar and they turn the boar into wild boar pate, which is amazing. We did try to bring some back to Ireland in our hand luggage. It got confiscated in Carcassonne Airport on the way back last time, to the absolute disgust of Tracy Gates, our social media manager, who was not impressed. I've never seen anybody's face look so unimpressed by not being able to bring anything back. But I digress. A wonderful experience. If anybody ever has a chance to go to Fougère, it is a beautiful place. I promise to stick with the video of Fougère later on today. It is a stunning place. Really amazing winemakers. Great location. But we're on to wine number 3 now, and this is made, again, we're small independent family run producers as we always deal with, but this is El Maximo, and it's made by 2 sisters in Baja, Navarra. Gar, please tell me a little bit about it.
Ivana and Maria are the two sisters, and this is actually named after their father, El Maximo. He actually completely renovated their vineyards and their winery, and unfortunately when that happened he passed quite early. So the girls' tribute to them is naming their crianza after him, and so that's why he got the big moustache, and he's known as El Maximo. So that's where it comes in. So we're in Navarra, and Navarra is basically Rioja is in Navarra for all intents and purposes, but this is very different to Rioja because one is not Tempranillo. This is mostly Grenache. It also has Merlot and Cabernet in it. It has Crianza, which means Asian oak, but in a lot of times, especially when you go to places like Rebel de Duero or you go to Rioja, they basically say this is American oak, this spends how many times, how many years, how many whatever else. And there's a taste transfer from the oak to the wine, which I don't really like because it basically hides the terroir and hides what you should be tasting, and it can hide a myriad of problems as well. So this is Grenache Cabernet Merlot. You can even just see just from the, it's actually quite a light wine by comparison. It's just, if you actually just see just a glint of it there. And just on the nose, just meaty strawberry. I got a bit of dried fruit in there and a little bit of spice. But for me, it's more almost like, instead of getting spice from the barrel, it's almost getting a bit of spice from the garrigue or what you have out there in the terroir, the little plants and everything else that basically adds to the natural yeast in the area that basically give it some of its give a wine some of its flavor. And then just on the taste.
A little bit bigger than what the Fougere would have been, but again, not overpowering.
That for me is just soft and elegant. Because a lot of the time when you go to Spain, you get something that's just absolutely just blows the head off you. Yeah. But this isn't. And this is just this for me. I could have this by itself, a little bit chilled because that's me on a hot day. But you could have this again with barbecue. With it's cold, so we're going stew today. But with anything, with a bit of anything again, tomato like pizza. Because it's got everything. It's again another 4x4 wine. Not that it can go anywhere, but it can go anywhere. But this is the only way to get up to the vines as well. Is because first time we visited there, it was 6 o'clock in the evening, and we were knackered, and we said, "Oh, great, we can see that we got time to see the vines," and our hearts sank until we actually saw the vines. 4x4s up there, only up the Baja Mountains, going straight down to valley floor, and then only seeing Pyrenees in the distance. And again, this is mountain wine. This is why there's more freshness to it as well. And you can definitely taste the garrigue, which is sort of like the wild plants around the vines as well. Hand harvested, of course, as well.
The same, you could say with the last wine and with this wine, in the last wine, you go around, there's wild fennel growing. Here, there's kind of wild herbs growing, and you can taste that certainly kind of coming through the wine. That is it. It's just about where something is made. The grape varietal grown in that area and about the ground and what the ground says is kind of stunning. For me, definitely this I can drink by itself, as we've kind of discussed, but I do like it with food. I do like it with something a bit bigger, if there's something kind of like, as you said, the beef stew or even kind of lamb stew, or even actually this kind of, for me, kind of, even though Pinot is usually the usual thing that goes with lamb, I think actually roasted lamb this can go quite well with. I think it's kind of quite fantastic. So that's kind of what we're kind of featuring as of this week. This is coming from the Oso Organic case. What we would like during the week is that people will take some photographs of what they're drinking over the wineend, maybe tag us at winesdirect.IRL on Instagram. You can get myself and Gareth. Gar is at Garkyo. I am at wine_Gav on Instagram as well. Next week, we're going to be featuring the Chardonnay case that will be going live on Tuesday, because it's going to be, you may not know, but next week there will be International Chardonnay Day, which gives us an excuse to drink Chardonnay. And for me, Chardonnay is one of the most underrated grape varietals that people can say, "Oh, I don't drink Chardonnay because I don't like oak." Chardonnay doesn't have to have oak, and we're gonna taste some ones next week that are going to be really, really interesting. But if you have any questions around those, please tag us again, or send us messages through Instagram, Facebook, or through our new comments that are on YouTube now as well. Gar, have a great weekend. Cheers. Thanks very much. And it's good to see you. Hopefully we're going to get to the end of this come lockdown. We can actually see each other and drink together again.
Listen, thank you very much, and see you next week.
Cheers.